I was shocked when I heard this, and I want your reaction now that you've been in the business for a while and you have your own team. You said that you didn't use the VA loan on your first 2 loans?
No.
What?
I didn't know. I was like, that's one of the reasons I got into this, because I didn't even know about it when I was younger.
I just wanted to like smash my head against the wall when you said that. That was crazy. Thank you so much for joining us on the Evolve Your Brand podcast. I'm your host, Oli Merkes, and I'm so excited today. Without further ado, I have Jay Johnson, Landing Collective, Real Estate Solutions. Welcome.
Thanks,
Glad to have you, my man.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
And I was thinking about you before, like I was driving here, and I didn't want you to feel neglected because you matter. So I brought you.
Oh man, this feels like a setup.
I brought you just.
Oh,
I want you to feel at home.
Okay.
You brought the glasses.
Like in our office now, right? Like back in my office.
Yeah,
like,
this is your home in North County.
I appreciate that. That.
Anytime you'd like.
Nice. You won't even be in here. I'm going to be showing up. Shane, hey, what's up, guys? Just came up for a drink.
I would prefer not to be here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Most people feel that way with me too. I don't want to be there when you're there.
Yeah. Let me know when you're going to be there.
So I'll be somewhere else.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Our audience is in for it. Like, we've gotten to know each other for a short period of time, and man, you blow my mind with regards to how you roll, the way you take care of your relationships. Like, you're just a great guy, man. Like, I think everybody, and you do podcasts.
True.
Right?
Yeah, I try.
Yeah?
I try.
Yeah, you did the whole search and rescue.
Mm-hmm.
You did that. Where do you want to start? How did you end up in beautiful San Diego?
Well, we can credit that to the Navy.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
And you served for how long?
26 and a half in 27 days.
26.
Yeah, just
26 years.
I counted those last ones.
5 months and 7 days.
6 months and 27 days.
Oh, 27 days. Yeah, I don't want to shortchange the 27.
Yeah. It only really matters that last month and 27 days, because that's when you're like, you're going. So your day really matters.
What's your favorite story about the Navy that you love to tell?
Probably can't tell, like the really fun ones or something, because other names will be involved or whatever. But to be honest, I wouldn't even say there's a favorite one. Just so many like really cool people that I'm still good friends with that, I don't know, man, just get put into kind of ridiculous situations and it turns out being a blast.
Okay.
Right. No matter how hard it is or what kind of shitty situation it is. So, I mean, I couldn't even narrow down something.
You couldn't?
Other than the people. Yeah.
Okay. Who's the one person that you're like, that you met and you still stay in touch with every single day? How did you meet that person?
Oh crap, man.
Who is it?
Dude.
Let's give him a shout out.
I wouldn't say every single day because
really?
Yeah. I mean, there's not many people that I talk to every day that I don't work with, but I would say like a weekly, man. And so I wouldn't even know where to go with that. One would be my buddy Bert Brown is a roommate of mine way back when I lived at the beach. And I'd say I probably talk to him at least every week and, text a few times.
How long have you guys known each other?
20, shit, man. I don't even know.
20
years, maybe 22 years or something.
Isn't that crazy when you say it out loud?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is a long freaking time, man. Yeah.
And what's great about him? Like, how come you guys bond so much?
Because we're totally opposite in a lot of ways too, right? But he gives me a totally different perspective of a lot of things. But yet, I mean, we lived at the beach together. We owned a boat together.
Oh shit!
Stuff like at a certain point. So it was kind of me. That was probably right after divorce time when it's. So anything we talk about today about financial security and stuff, this was not that period. This is like after a divorce, and you're like, cool. Hey, I've got a little bit of time on shorty before I deploy again. I'm just going to do whatever I want. So that's when, all the stupid stuff, I did it all at once to get it done, get it checked off. But it was like, let's get the new car, let's get a boat, let's get motorcycles, let's do all that stuff and just do anything that I want to do for like 3 years and then go back to real life.
You went on a toy bonanza.
Yeah, kind of. And just, whatever we want to do, however much we want to party or anything like that. And having two people who are kind of at a similar point in their life to do something with like that's probably one of the things that made us so close. But then also knowing that, cool, this has to be a finite period and then grow back up and get going back again, on the right path.
Okay, so are you you guys said you own a boat together. Are you in that club that says the best day is when you get the boat and then the day you sell it? Are you in that club or no?
No, I wouldn't say. Like,
really?
I really enjoyed it. But when you're going to go on, like I knew, hey, I was going to have back-to-back. I was going to be gone a lot for the next few years. And, sitting boats don't help anything either. Right. So, yeah, so it was a good few years and it was expensive, right? Yeah, I can see where that would be, but maybe we just didn't keep it long enough to feel that way.
Got it. Yeah, my buddies, when they tell me about the like maintenance costs,
oh, it's ridiculous. Yeah,
bro.
Yeah.
I'm like, why would anybody ever buy it? I'm a money guy, man. I sell money. I'm like, the math. You must really love fishing.
Yeah,
or you love boats.
Yeah,
but one or the other. What's your favorite place in that 26 and a half years and 27 days? What was your favorite place that you got deployed?
Oh man, that's tough. Man, I couldn't even tell you that either. It's everything was so different because it's all situational, right?
Yeah.
As far as
what stands out,
visiting and early on, and it's different too when you're like 22, 23, like first deployment. We got to stop in Spain for a little bit. That was about it. So Spain was super fun for me because it was like my first, stop out of the country. So to me, that kind of, I guess, is something that stands out because then the rest of that deployment, we didn't get to see, we're doing work stuff and not, visiting anything.
Yeah.
And everything's different when you're like early on, like your early 20s, things are a lot more fun and carefree than when you have other responsibilities when you're, in late 30s or something like that, even though the places are cool. So yeah, that's a hard one too. I can say as far as in the States working in, I was at Whidbey Island for 3.5 years for the inland for mountain search rescue type stuff. And that was super fun for being in the States and just because it was different from everything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, overseas.
What was the best, because it was interesting. I was, as I was doing my research, you didn't have anybody in your family that was in the military. What made you decide that, hey, I'm going to join the Navy and then 26 and a half years later?
Yeah. My dad was in, I think he did like 5 years or something, but way before I was born. So I didn't have any influence from that at all. And he, even when I decided I was going to do it, they were like, dude, just finish college first, then make a decision. Right. So, they were more the education route and stuff, which I really appreciate. They're like, hey, you still can make that decision after you finish. But yeah, I was, I was 2 years into college. Second year, I started playing rugby. When I played baseball is what I went for. Our coach, retired stuff anyway. That wasn't really the route. Started playing rugby because we weren't going to be winning. Started playing rugby and then was traveling with the Coors Light team. And so it was like not getting paid, but when you're like 19 or 20 and your travel and beer and food's paid for to go, play a game. And, and honestly, like I didn't have much money. So that was pretty awesome. So you can't let a 19 or 20-year-old do that and expect him to come back, go to classes, right? That's my excuse to myself. So it was a blast, but I wasn't really taking school seriously, and I knew I wasn't ready for career type behind the desk or anything like that. So I knew I needed to do something different just for a few years. So that's when I decided to jump in the military for a little bit. And not having really military background or not being in a military town, I think I had an unrealistic expectation too of like everybody in the military was going to be, this level and cool. I'm going to go test myself with these, these great men and this whatever. And then, you're dumb. You're just ignorant to what's going on. And then you get there and you're going, oh, it's just another group of dudes.
Right.
It's just another group of dudes as it should be. Right. But just that unrealistic expectation of what it would force me to be or learn or whatever the case is.
Well, what's the thing that you're most grateful for having served?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I think that's evolved a little bit too. Definitely the experiences of my friends and stuff like that was great. But something that I think a lot of people don't fully take advantage of is if you're in for any amount of time, you'll have from an early time some type of leadership responsibility, right? Whether you're, it's just one person and it grows eventually to, 50 people, 100 people, whatever the case is. If every time you finish a certain assignment or job or you transfer to a new command or anything like that, you literally have that ability to look at what you've done, how you'd structured things, how you interacted with your teams or, whatever offices at that time. And it doesn't take very long to take those few minutes to assess what was good or what was bad, what you wish you would change. And if you take a few minutes to decompress and think about that experience, and we're talking that might be a 3-year experience, it doesn't take long to go, you know what, I think I could have done this better, or dealing with this scenario with this person, I could have done better. You can remake who you are like every 3 years. Like you go into your new place and you're going, cool, I know something. Now I have 2 points that I'm going to improve on. So you really, with very little inflection, really, you can grow a lot as a leader or as a team builder or, just in whatever role that you're playing by just taking a few minutes to analyze it and go, cool, what can I do better this time? And if you're not doing that, I think you're missing a huge opportunity, because in a way it's an education too, right?
Right.
So it's kind of like, I look at it as like a lab class. If someone's going to be like, cool, dude, like, and sometimes you're not ready for it, or you don't think you're ready for it. And it's like, all right, here's your new position. Here's 50 people, try not to fuck them up. It's kind of how it is. So it's like a lab class, right? All right, cool. Let me take what I've learned and see what I can do with this and always evolve and learn. But really it is almost that simple. Sometimes you show up and it's
freaking
high five here. This
Here's take 50 people and don't fuck them up.
But it's really that simple sometimes, seriously. Or sometimes you show up and there hasn't been someone in your position. So there's been nobody doing that job for a little bit and there's a lapse and you just pick it up and go. So
you know what hit me? Aubrey and Brad, and we'll talk about them shortly too, because they're huge fans of yours and you guys are doing cool shit. Aubrey said something. She's like, there's nothing hits me harder every single day than the responsibility that I have lives in my care.
Mm-hmm.
And that just, it hit me. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
And people,
no one's dealing with that.
People do it at a young age too. That's the other thing.
Oh shit.
You're
right. That even takes it to a whole nother level, because it's like, you don't have life experiences. You got all this pressure on you. I think it was just, that's a different way of showing up for work. Every day.
Yeah, it can be, I guess. But then it just becomes, no, I don't think people take the responsibility carelessly, if you will. But it does become like built into your work, right? Or built into your work ethic, and you just understand that, and it becomes every other day, right? And it's just assumed. So and I think that's a good thing to carry into the business side too, because it might not be lives, but it's financial responsibility to other people. Like on my team, I'm more worried about making sure that they're able to succeed than I am about mine, because if I'm worried about me, we're not going to succeed. If I'm worried about them, we'll keep growing.
I think that's one of the things that I appreciate you so much about as a leader, is that you spend so much time talking about your team. It really isn't about you.
Well, I don't hear they're smarter than me. So,
well, that's given. You don't need to say that.
That's not difficult.
Yeah, you don't need to say that. They would say it.
Yeah,
if they were here,
they're like, you're smarter than me.
He's very right.
Yeah, it's true.
Folks, I banter with them because
it's
I just
true.
have to,
because it's true. Like how many times I'm like, even down to my password, it's so bad. It's like, hey, who has my Instagram password? Hey, anybody?
Oh,
know
it's
my
that
MLS?
bad.
Well, because also because they honestly, they manage a lot of our team too. So like whoever's posting stuff and doing stuff like that is generally not me. Because if
you're busy doing podcasts and
busy drinking whiskey with Oli. So
we haven't technically started, and this would be the first time in our show's history that we would have it on camera for your viewing pleasure.
Uh-oh. Well, it's a time for a first then.
I think, go ahead.
Put a little in the...
Yeah. We have, I saw you, I went and watched your Instagram. I wanted to share it and give you a compliment. I am a huge Yellowstone fan. Thank you.
For the reel.
Yes.
I've done literally 2 reels on my own.
Yeah.
That was one of them. That's one of 2 reels that I've ever done. All right. And I was so proud. Thank you.
I'm very proud of you.
I'm going to clap for myself.
I could tell that you had done that.
It was because it was not.
Yeah, it
very
was.
well. But
Okay.
yeah, it was funny. I
Whoa.
was trying.
Whoa. Mr. Heavy Hands.
It's like caramel.
I think he
flavor,
gave me a
right?
double shot. He gave himself a single.
Because I just need you to be more interesting.
I know.
Babe.
I might need the bottle.
Right.
So,
That smells good.
Okay, this is the first.
That's really good.
Yes, that is good. That's.
Caramel
I
flavor.
think this will salted caramel.
Holy shit.
Salted caramel. Yes.
Yes. Like it.
Welcome.
Thank you.
no, it became way more fun right now, didn't it?
Yeah. I
Okay,
can tolerate
good.
you now.
I've heard that so many times about tolerating.
Me too.
Oh, this is so good. This is so good. Jumping back into it, I actually wore special socks for you
Oh shit. What do
because I knew.
What do you got? Oh shit.
Okay,
Nice,
and
nice,
then
nice.
no.
Nice.
And I got the other side too.
Not match. So yeah.
Oh,
I
not
like it.
matching,
I
and
like it.
you're sporting the nice Hawaiian socks. I like it. The
I got
palm
my-
trees.
Oh, I got my surfing monkeys.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Very good. Oh, you got monkeys on there.
Yeah, man, they're surfing.
Okay. All right.
I had to look and see what they are.
See, and this is what fun is all about. When you work with people you get along with, holy shit, life is fun.
It really is, even when things suck.
Yes.
You know.
And things definitely. Let's talk about real estate.
Ooh, yeah.
Are you
Yes.
Are you down?
Yeah, of course.
I was shocked when I heard this, and I want your reaction now that you've been in the business for a while and you have your own team. You said that you didn't use the VA loan on your first two loans.
No.
What?
I didn't know. I was like, that's one of the reasons I got into this because I didn't even know about it when I was younger.
I just wanted to like smash my head against the wall when you said that. That was crazy.
Yeah.
So how did was that what started? Like you said you had a bad experience.
Well, the first one was bad.
Yeah.
Like, I knew it was bad when it was done because, you know, when you have time to decompress a little and go, wait, I should have understood more of this. I should have known whatever, but I didn't know what I didn't know. And literally went to, I looked at a place, got food poisoning. First day I got to Virginia Beach when I would first move there for my first permanent command, right?
Okay.
And went and looked at a place and I was like feeling really sick. I didn't know yet how bad it was going to be, but I was just like, all right, I've got to check into my command tomorrow. And so I didn't know, you know, again, younger, don't really have anything to base it on. I'm going, dude, we're going to be working right away. Like, I don't know if I'll have any time to find a place or whatever. So I'm like, cool, I'll do it. I'll buy it. The agent didn't really know anything about VA stuff, apparently. Honestly didn't know much about transaction looking back, but I didn't know how to even vet that. I just pulled somebody out of off of a flyer.
How old were you and what year was this?
22.
Oh, wow. You bought your first. Okay, nice.
Because it was like it was my first, right after training. So a year and a half after coming in. So that would have been, oh man, I don't know, October, but it was like 93, something like that. Yeah. So it's been a while. So yeah, then it wasn't just I didn't really learn anything from it. Didn't know. Let's just say it wasn't smooth at all. So after that, I had a little break and I took real estate classes just because like I want to know what's going on next time. I didn't start doing like real estate. I took all the courses and stuff there. And then, you know, I was gone most of the next few years. But then when I went to Whidbey Island, I bought another place there. I still didn't know everything. I didn't know loan stuff then. I knew more about the real estate process, but I didn't know loan stuff. So I still didn't use it because, you know, I just think a lot of people were unfamiliar, to be honest. And we didn't, you know, it wasn't like everything was on the internet like it is now. Because the internet was kind of new to like people in general, right? It was like
nobody's doing YouTube videos on how your VA loan works.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the first few I didn't even know about VA loan.
I mean, and the thing would be, I think what surprises me now is it's not much better today. It's
not. I think a lot of military or veterans know now that there is a VA loan and that they know some stuff from it, but they know a lot of myths from it too, right? Just stuff passed on to them. But what I find really frustrating is other agents, like when we're trying to work with one of our buyers or, you know, using the VA loan and they just don't understand it. And the amount of times we'll get someone go like, well, they have all these funds. Why not convert them to a conventional loan? I'm like, because why would they pay extra if they don't have to? And this is a solid line. They have those funds because they're trying to be smart with their money. Is not, to me, is not smart to pay a 0.5% higher interest and, have to come out of pocket for more to keep the, mortgage insurance off, PMI off. So having to explain that to people, and we always try to do it in a nice way, but some people are great. To be honest, we had a listing agent in Oceanside who was one that I just remember being so open to it. He does mostly commercial, but this is a 4-unit, right?
Yeah.
And so they're getting mostly commercial offers and stuff. And we came with a VA loan, 100% down. I think that one was 1.75 million, right? And he's like, wait, can we even do this? But we always follow up.
Nice.
Like we submit the offer, and then we follow up with a link of like, hey, just in case you're not familiar with what the VA can do, here's some information. Here are like a half dozen of the deals we've already closed. So we send them the links to those so they know like, oh shit, okay, these guys do this regularly. This is what they do. And the guy calls us and he was actually super cool. And he's like, hey man, not only like, this is great. I'd love to support this. And he's like, do you mind also, can you spend a few minutes and just like talk me through some of this? Cause I want to be able to convey it to the seller. And I really think this is awesome. So there's people like that, which is amazing. They want to learn, they want to be better at their trade. And then there's other people who just cannot comprehend it. Wow. And they're just like,
I love the guy in Oceanside.
yeah, no, I was super impressed, but he was also a professional throughout his thing too. And a lot of times you'll notice the biggest professionals are open to learning something new. Right. And I left that with a lot of respect for that guy. And
would you mind one of the things I think about the San Diego real estate market, and this is where I think we're going to bring a lot of value, especially with your experience and you are doing transactions, you're busy in getting, helping your clients solve their problems in a very difficult market with very interesting financial outlook.
Right.
Because rates continue to go up. So it is what it is. Like, I think this is the landscape that we're in. You can complain about it or you can learn how to solve problems based on what we have to work with. What I don't understand, I visited open house. There's like 40 or 50 people that came by this weekend, and the lack of education, the lack of information. Many of them did not come with their agents.
Yeah.
I only saw 3 agents. I shook their hands. I gave them huge compliments to their clients saying, hey, you have a fantastic agent that came with you. Like, I genuinely think like we have a huge responsibility to the community. What's your approach about real estate? Like, how do you tackle this? What is it that, your team does that's different when it comes to the experience that you're providing people?
Dude, that's a great question because ours has evolved too.
Okay.
And well, as I've learned, right,
Yeah.
It's evolved too. I think the biggest thing for us is, this is going to sound bad on the business perspective, but profit isn't our biggest goal.
Okay.
For me, like, right. Like we have salary people, we have agents, working on their commission and stuff like that. So my goal is to provide them all the tools and the access, everything that they need to be successful. And eventually the profit will come to me. I don't have to be paid now. I can be paid later. It's an investment, right? It's like anything else. I think once you have an investor mindset, you're more comfortable with putting out the work and some finance or whatever it is. And don't get me wrong, I still make some money, but it's not what we could. I could make more. Probably our core couple people could make a lot more if we did it much more simply, but our clients wouldn't have the same experience and they wouldn't be educated as much. So we focus education from day one. We also have dedicated people, and it's not like, how would I even say this too? It's not like big box store type of thing, just got someone transactionally doing these things. People get assigned a team of people that are specifically doing their jobs that they're best at, right? Like Nicole now is running our transactions, so it's not like a TC. It's like literally a transaction manager being the go-between for escrow and everything. Because if anybody's like not in the business, they don't realize that it's like most of your client-facing stuff is on the weekends and the evenings, and unfortunately, all the office work and all the transaction stuff is happening 9 to 5 on Monday to Friday, right? So you're dealing with title, escrow, vendors, contractors, everything during the week. And then, the client stuff's in the evening. That's when they're off work and you're going over this stuff. So we have people assigned that do most of that stuff for them. Instead of them having to track down their own people or schedule their own people, we'll do most of that for them. Then we have, so each person will be dealing with probably 3 people throughout each transaction so that they have all that information constantly the whole time. We don't want, if people have to ask us a question, unless it's something out of left field, right? If people are asking us a question, our goal is for them never to have to ask those questions. Once we get started, we want to be in front of it all the time. So from day one, we do education piece on this is how the whole process works. Even if they bought other places, not San Diego, let's talk to you about San Diego, or even if they use another realtor, because it's like, that's not how we operate. So we do that piece. And then throughout the transaction, they get educational pieces ahead of each step. So we've already told them what it's going to look like. And then they'll get like, hey, you're, coming up to your home inspection. This is the importance. This is what we're going to do. We're going to follow up after and XYZ. So I lay it out for them. And then the communication's broken out through the week. So to be honest, it's twofold on the communication piece. We learned because there was times I felt like I couldn't give good communication, feedback, and everything. Because, when people are looking for answers on the weekends and we're like showing properties or, going out and trying to find some properties for the investors, going out and doing inspections, all that stuff. And you're trying to communicate back and forth with people and it wasn't, and sometimes the questions were already in their weekly follow-up, but people don't want to read a long email, right?
Yeah.
So the power of video, obviously is why you're doing this. So now everyone gets like a escrow update video on Friday to end the week. And it tells them everything that happened that week, where the status is, even though they get a checklist of all of it all the time anyway. And then we'll tell them what they're expecting next week. Hey, appraisal should be back on Tuesday or Wednesday, blah, blah, blah. So it's twofold. People leave, we get more feedback when it's over, like after the transaction is over, of like, wow, that was like, I wasn't nervous because I had information the whole way. And for us, it cut down on the phone calls and texts on all the off hours, because we want to respond, but we're also like, you still have to get things done. Right. So it really cut those down. And I've even had, like, I'm checking in with somebody, like, even like my buddy Bert that I mentioned, we were talking earlier, and when he, a couple different times on his transactions, I'll hit him up for something else. I'm like, cool, doing this and this, like, let's go do this, go grab dinner or something like that. And he'll be like, oh, hey, by the way, never mind. Maya's video comes out tomorrow, because in this particular transaction, Maya was his person. Oh, her video comes out tomorrow. I'll just wait for that. I'm like, okay. And he's like, yeah, she probably knows more than you anyway. I'm like, yeah, that's probably true too, because he knows me. But yeah, no, and they're happy with it. And people, like, I get feedback of how much they look forward to that, which has been awesome. Yeah, that's it. And plus, it's somebody else's face, not mine, so it's a much more appealing.
Yes,
to them.
absolutely.
I'm more of a voice or the face for phone calls, and then Maya and Nicole, they can do the.
I heard on your podcast you said you have a face for radio, so
yeah, maybe not even face for that now.
So if you have a face for radio, I don't know what I have the face for, so I'm really in trouble right now.
Mm-hmm. I have a face for email. I have a face for her.
Sweet.
They don't even want to hear my voice.
I have a face for a letter.
Right.
Send me a letter. Don't even send me an email. How come you decided to structure? You built processes and systems all based on experience, guidance, feedback, being conscious of people's times, respecting their work schedule. How come all this effort?
I just don't really know another way to do it. And I'm also, man, this is, I don't know, this probably come off really bad, but I'll put like fake chips on my shoulders too. Like if something bugs me, and I'll just use it for motivation. It may not even bug me that much,
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to find if you set in a direction, you'll get there eventually, right? Even as long as you have a direction. So, my direction is just always forward, is kind of all I tell myself. And so then if, I don't know, something bugs me that someone else does, I'm like, that's it. And this is jokingly to a point, but like, the team will know if we get frustrated because an agent is doing something really bad or stupid or just not ethical or just not good for their clients that we're interacting with. And it's honestly, I'm like, fuck them. Let's just take them down. like, let's take that over. I don't really care about them. I don't care what they're doing. They're, do your thing. But it's like, that's my mental way of prepping myself to go, cool, this will never happen with us. We'll fix that scenario, or we're not going to do it.
I love it.
So I learn a lot just from what we don't like that other people are doing.
Yeah. Do you see a lot of that? Like as you guide the families and the investors that you guys serve, what's the most important thing that you think you educate them on?
For them?
Yeah.
Oh,
for the consumer.
Man.
Yeah. What's the biggest thing that's important for you to educate them on?
For me is just understanding the process, understanding their, how for them it can turn out the best, understand their, like we all know contingencies, right?
Yeah.
So just technically so that they know like, hey, you've got X amount of time to actually vet this out. You're not locked in right away. And then also getting them to think about all the aspects of it. I always, especially when I'm working, me personally, I don't know design, man. I know what looks good when I see it. If they were like, hey, what could I put here to make it? I don't know. I just really don't. So
I'm definitely coming to you for design.
Yeah, definitely.
Like if I was going to do my home,
yeah, be like, dude,
the first person I think to call.
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you call me? Right? Because I'll know someone who's really good at it.
Oh, 1,000%.
That's the secret.
I call you for a referral.
That's 100%.
Aubrey.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll just group text it. Hey, I don't know why Oli didn't just text you, but no, but it is true, right? Like I'm not good at those things, but even when we're out looking at a home, if it's a family looking for like their single family home, their family home, they know what they like.
Yeah.
Right. So we try to keep them on target a little bit. Like, sometimes people get the shiny thing, like they see this newly rented.
Guys.
Was that God?
I don't know.
Did you awaken God?
I think so. I don't know. But
I think the studio is possessed. Someone just spoke.
That was
scary.
There's a lot of first in this podcast episode.
Continue, please.
Who was that God?
I don't know what happened.
I have no
what
idea.
Are you talking about?
I think the ceiling is speaking.
Just speaking to us.
Yeah, it's just speaking to you. That was okay.
Yeah.
I lost my train of thought right there. Hold on.
You got this. Go on. You got this.
No, we were just literally talking about, we were going through the process of how are you doing real estate this way?
Yeah.
Why did you set it up?
You were talking. I wasn't talking. I was listening.
But I wasn't listening to me. So. Even I don't listen to me, dude.
Okay, awesome. He's like, I wasn't listening to what I was saying. What do you want?
We were talking about when people are shopping for homes. You said families know what they like.
Yeah,
I was listening to you. It just threw me off. Yeah,
me too. That was like, man, I felt like we got caught doing something.
You care.
Yeah,
I care about you. Your experience.
Buddy.
You got it. Please continue.
No, yeah, they know what they're like and what's comfortable for their family. So I always think of everything. I'm protecting their money. So when I default,
say that again.
I just want to protect their money. Yes. Same with our property management company, right? Simple rules like communicate well and protect their owner's assets. Like I need stuff simple. I'm a simple dude. You know that. The rest of the team are the smart ones that can.
They all told me you're simple dude.
Yeah, shoot, I tell them too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like them to know they don't expect as much of me.
Yeah. Guys, I'm a simpleton.
don't ask me. No, man, but yeah, that's pretty much it. So they'll see, like, hey, what are you looking at? I'm looking at potential issues. I'm going to talk to you about the area. I'm going to talk to you about, what other growth is coming around here that might push appreciation more. I'm going to talk to you about, like HOA, say it's an HOA thing or like, especially now insurance, right? I'm going to give them that information. I'm not trying to we don't want to get a sale over someone's well-being, right? And
Jay.
Prepared for that. Like,
wow.
Hey, insurance that could double your HOA in the next couple of years. The way
look at you,
going, right?
Good for you. So I love the way you do real estate because it's relationship based. It's about people and what their goals are. In your opinion, what could the industry do better than it's doing right now?
Man, that's tough.
No, it's not.
Almost everything.
Okay, almost everything.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
When we
what stands out to you? I'm talking about as real estate professionals. Yeah. What could we do better for the people we're here to serve?
I think that there is, let's just say, I think 10% of people just are always trying to improve and do better. And I'm obviously making these numbers up, and
Of
it's just
course.
through my kind of guesstimation of the people we're dealing with. But there's some people that are just always working to do better. And there's, man, and as soon as you even are in contact with them, even if it's a deal and you're working the other side, there's people who we've negotiated with that were tough negotiators. And I'm like, man, I like this person because they're going to bat for their clients, so they're doing it professionally and they're well thought out arguments there. And you just like, I don't dislike that. Like, I like it when we have a good, and I don't even call it competition. Really, it ends up, both parties end up happy and we get it done, because the other thing is people like that, they're going to get the job done. It's not out there just, hey, I'm just out there to argue or something. It's like, cool, they're going to represent their people, we represent ours, and it's going to get done. We're just trying to make it as favorable as possible to our clients, right? So I just got to take my hats off to like 10% of the people, without a doubt, right? There's some great people out there. And then I think that there's another 10% that think they're doing that or mean to do that, and maybe just haven't found the right group of people to associate or mentor or something like that. Because if you're in the island of everybody doing the same thing and no one's really making that progress, you can have that good intention. It's just not always getting there. But I still love the fact that they're making that effort. And then I think 80% of the people are just there, to be honest. And I'd say there's probably a few that are just shady people too, right? I mean, you could assign another percentage of people that are taking advantage of others, but we get that in any industry, right?
Yeah.
But there is definitely a population of that. And then there's just so many people that don't understand how the business is paid and whatnot, I think, and want to join and think that, I get one deal a year, I can do this. I get X amount. They're not thinking, well, I get no experience. I can tell you, man, you don't learn. There's very little you learn in the first, you need 5-6 deals before you even know what's going on, right? It wasn't until like 50 deals before I was even felt confident, to be honest, right? So people that are doing 1 or 2 deals a year, they're just not going to have the network. The things that we've talked about before is, you have strength in your network, you have strength in the people, that become your mentors, and your colleagues can be mentors, right? So you have strength in all that. Until you've built that up, I think you're kind of just floundering, and then it doesn't do good service to their clients, but it also doesn't do, how would I say this too? Like, we're skeptical if someone doesn't have experience, depending on their attitude. If they're, if you're accepting an offer, let's say, that like, man, I don't know if they have the ability to keep this deal going. If there's I don't know if they have the ability to, or understanding to research like, the financials for the HOA and to guide their client. So there's a lot of those, and a lot of them just don't, I won't say they don't want to get better, but they're just not there to do it as a business, which is okay too. But if there's lack of experience, then their clients and our clients aren't getting the best situation.
Okay. And I appreciate the fact that you say it's okay. One of the things I've been thinking about is, like, for most people, especially in California, this is the biggest purchase decision of their lives. Is this something that should be rushed? Is this something that you should take your time, have the information? See what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's a different,
it's hard. Yeah.
It's a different shopping experience. So when people compare it to like buying a car or a plane, no, it's not. I'm sorry. Like, those decisions are very easy to get out of.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
There's a huge cost associated with getting out of a real estate transaction. You know, if I make a mistake and buy a house, I mean, right now there's a lot of uncertainty and questions about affordability. So I think, what I took away from how you operate Landing Collective would be that it's experience-based. You take the time to really connect with people, make their lives easier. It isn't about the profit. It's about, like, how do we earn our business for the next 10 years?
It's true. Well, I for instance, in I think rushing to get a sale, like trying to get a sale, like, well, plus ours is relationship based. So we don't really market. We've never done, like, we don't do Zillow leads. We don't do any of that stuff.
You don't?
No. And I'm not knocking that. Like,
no,
that's
no,
great.
not
it's
at all.
It's a different business model, but ours has all been generated database, generated clientele from Sphere and whatever, and then referrals from that. So that's why, again, for us to actually even make any money, we have to be good at the relationship. We have to be good at the education, because that's what's getting people, oh, I feel comfortable sending my friend, my neighbor, my family to that team because of my experience, right? If they have a bad experience with us, they're not going to refer people. And that is literally 100% of our income is those referrals.
Can I share with you why I refer people to you?
Because no one else will talk to you?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
You nailed it.
Nice,
Awesome.
nice.
Perfect. Interview over.
Awesome. I actually trust that you're going to be honest.
Sometimes brutally.
I don't think you would give anyone advice that was not in their best interest or based on their goals.
Mm-hmm.
And if they were going to do something that wasn't in their best interest, even though you would make money and profit out of it,
Right.
you would advise against it.
Sure.
At the end of the day, it's their choice. Like, that was the biggest learning, Jay. You said, like, this is a very hard industry. I was disrespectful of real estate. I didn't really understand how hard this is for the people that are successful at it, because you're running it like a business and it is intense and people centric. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
That's how you win.
Yeah.
It's intense.
It is. It can be, right?
Yeah.
It can be also very rewarding. And
1000%.
but if people can get past, and again, it's experience that gets you past some of the stuff, like you said, if people get in, it's hard to get out if they get into a bad or they make a wrong decision. And again, like, that's not always some real estate professional's fault, like a lender or a realtor. For some of these people, like, they're guiding them to what sometimes people say they want.
Yeah.
And then they get it and they're like, that's not really what I wanted, And so sometimes, the people individuals, the consumer has to take some, responsibility themselves too. But like you said, I want to be as upfront as I can based on what they're telling us they want to do. And for us too, I've learned, we haven't been doing this that long, like 6 years, but we've learned that, for instance, we're working with a client right now that a year and a half ago we did, our education stuff with them, went over stuff, multiple calls, answered all the questions, because first-time homebuyers are going to have a lot of questions, right?
It's a longer runway.
It is. So
Yeah.
we answered all those things, lots and lots of time on the education side, and then they ghost for a while, right? And the thing is too, not to take things personally, right? A lot of times these people will ghost, and you see it in like
the
real estate
ghosting.
groups.
Yes.
Yeah. But
it's like Casper the Ghost.
It is.
Just
It
jumps
is.
out.
Yeah. And they're like, okay, you stop hearing back from them or whatever. But if we think about it and put a little perspective to that, is like, sometimes people are embarrassed. So like, hey, I've been doing this, but I'm scared to do this right now, or I have this situation. So it's not necessarily that they're trying to be an ass. Sometimes they're just like, they're embarrassed or they have other things going. And you know what? That's life. And so if we continue to just do our normal follow-up, invite them to our things like we do, we do a lot of education events and stuff like that. We'll keep inviting them. We're not going to be like, oh, screw these guys, they waste our time, because you don't know when they're ready. We don't decide when people are ready, right?
Yeah. But
now we're working with them again, because fast forward a year and a half later, like about 6 weeks ago or so, they reach back out. It's like, hey, wow, now we're seeing, because the stuff that we did talk to them about, then they had some kind of knowledge to follow along, and they watch what's happened. They're like, hey, we get it. Rates are way worse than they were before, but we also we need to get into something, right? And so
that you actually are an expertish.
right, expertish,
Ooh,
right?
Okay.
Yep.
I think the biggest awakening for me after 5 years, almost 6 years in this business, is there's not a lot that's real.
It's not really.
And I think being real is like, and I get it, there's a lot of changes that are coming, and I think it's good. Change is good. It's not necessarily going to be bad. And some people are leaving the business. Is that good for our industry that you see people leaving the business?
I don't know, man. I don't know, because I feel like, and again, because I don't know everybody in the business, right?
Of course not. Yeah.
But I don't think we always hear about like, hey, and I've heard it, and I know I've said it before too, like, oh, cool, this will clear out a lot of people that aren't running the business as a professional and stuff. But I don't think it really will, because we're always going to have people, because the barrier to get your real estate license is non-existent, right? There's very little to get a real estate license, or even mortgage license, your NMLS, is not that difficult to get. But it's difficult to run the business properly and difficult to operate. Yeah. But people will get into it seeing that regardless, and are going to muddy the waters. I feel like all
Yeah.
the time. And I think a lot of the people we see getting out now are people that maybe, or at least a lot of the ones I know that are getting out, had been doing it a while. And it's just kind of like, they're like, do I want to weather this storm, or have I done enough? You know what I mean? Where
I
they're
see what you're saying.
I've
Got
already
it.
run my business. Maybe this is the time to jump off. Why endure a couple years of just getting your butt kicked, and having to work 20 times harder if you'd rather hang out with your grandkids? Do you know what I mean? And I
do.
think that's a natural,
That's great.
And I think that's a great, especially people that have a successful business. I think that's a ballsy move to make too. Going, hey, I'm out. This is good. I'm good. So I don't think,
Because who knows when this is going to end? Like, it just, who knows? And so what's your advice when you're working with families right now and they ask you, hey, Jay, what's going to happen with interest rates? What's going to happen with the San Diego market? Is it going to crash?
What is my
like our home prices? Yeah. So when you get that question, our home prices, because I often hear this, like, how much higher can these prices go?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Dangling the refinance carrot, which I'm not a fan of, because I think you got to afford the mortgage payment of the home that you're buying, regardless of temporary buy down.
Right.
Because temporary is temporary.
Yes.
Like, can you handle this permanently for 36 months to 48 months? So how are you advising people to navigate the San Diego real estate market right now if they want to buy a house?
Good.
First time.
Yeah. First time. Man, a couple points there that then remind me the temporary buy down. Remind me.
I will
circle back to that, because I think that's a really important point as well. But first off, they're asking my opinion on the things.
Yeah.
Like that. I'm upfront with them. Like, I can't tell you what rates you're going to do. Right. Like, I really can't. And I can tell them, and I'll tell them the people that I follow, the economists that I follow, I'll tell them where I get my information and then what common sense things that I think of.
Okay.
So I try to provide them the information that I use for myself. Right. And then when they talk about, like, for instance, the rates thing, again, like, call it what you want. I hate politics in general, but me personally, I just don't see a world where they don't find some way to get rates down, probably summer or fall. And shit, it might only be temporary, but so I'm want my people to be poised to take advantage of that as well.
Yeah.
Because I just don't see an election year rates not getting, even if it's artificially pushed down to make it look like our economy's in a better place, right? Like, no matter what political,
you're just using common sense.
Yeah. It would only make, if
you were running for president,
it would be like, we got to get rates down.
Yeah.
We got to make the economy look better, or else I'm not going to be back again. Yeah. Right. Like, that's just how it is. So, I'll give them all that information, and then I will talk about, hey, how high can it go? Well, shit, I think COVID was a good example of that, because a lot of people are saying, oh, it's going to crash now that COVID hit. And it's like, no, there's still not enough homes. Still supply and demand doesn't go away. Right. Like,
it doesn't.
That's just natural rule, natural law. So, they kept going. And so I don't know how far it can go. I just think there's a cap to it. I don't think there's any.
I don't think so
either. When
either.
the rates do go down, I do think prices are going to shoot up again.
Okay, so we're in the same boat, because here's what I'll throw at you. I have clients that live in the Bay Area, a lot of them, and we set up their portfolio during COVID time when rates were low. That was an opportune time where they refinance everything in their portfolio. Boom, done. Investment properties at 3.25% on $1 million loan.
Right.
You're sitting pretty. So now that's like, okay, those home prices, they don't come down. The Bay Area, you want to be offended? Go look at home prices in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
That's offensive. How come we have better weather? We're more desirable. I would say there's a lot more transplants that are coming to this. We're seeing tech money come. I just don't see San Diego, and I know this is not popular. How are home prices ever going to go down here?
I don't think.
I just don't think so.
I don't think they will. If anything, I think we can all take, plateaus or some light hits in certain areas or something, but I don't see it going down either. Because we've got so many things against us here. Let's face it, the worst landlord rights in the world, I feel like, just
California.
It's shit. And San Diego's even top on.
New York is competing, by the way.
Yeah,
they're doing some crazy stuff in New York too.
They're trying to battle for number one spot of
that makes sense though. Like, this is like the who's going to be the worst when it comes to landlords. Like, we want to push them all out.
Yeah. Or get all the votes from everyone. Whatever the reason, it's a mess, right? But still, it's so man, it's just the weather, everything. There's so much going. There's so much, still so many job opportunities. You know, the military is not going anywhere. Like they're so entrenched here. That's a ton of population.
Yeah.
UCSD is, you know, they're like the second biggest employer. You know, DOD and military, obviously number one, then UCSD because all the hospitals and there's just a lot of business here. That's before we get into biotech and everything. Like, I just don't see it changing. And we're still supposedly have this, you know, big housing shortage, which it's not supposedly, we do, you know? So yeah, there's just a lot of opportunity still. And that's what I really wrap it up with when people are asking me like, what do you think of these things? And then go like, I can give you the information, you can make your decision, but I'm still buying. And I've been aggressively buying since 2020.
You're working on cool projects too, because you've evolved. Like now, when it comes to you're going through an investment training right now, improving your skill set. How come you continue? You know, I would say if someone looked at you right now, they would say, "Hey, Jay is achieving success. He's got a team. He's doing right by his clients. He's improving the experience. You're doing all these things, and you're continuing to level up. You're part of that 10%, by the way, that you talked about.
Thanks.
Yeah,
the shitty 10%.
No, I was talking.
Oh, just checking. You know.
Yeah.
Never know.
No. You know that bottom 10% that you were talking about? Like the 10%.
The step. You know?
Well, we're going to kick you out after, like, you're immediately leaving. I think you have I'm kidding.
It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, I'm glad to. Like, I'll leave right now.
I mean, God's already talking to us.
So you're positive about the outlook. Out of these three cities, if you were to buy property, LA, San Francisco, and San Diego.
San Diego.
And what's the number one reason for you as an investor?
Honestly, because I understand San Diego more.
Okay.
So it's comfortability there, and I have more direct access to stuff. And then honestly, too, because we have our own property management company, so then we have management that I trust. And then honestly, I'm not like San Diego. Let's just say I definitely think we're going the wrong direction in certain things.
Okay.
But I think, in my opinion, on as far as when we're talking housing and San Fran and LA, I think are already further behind than we are. We're chasing them to be the worst in California for, you know, how we protect property owners and rights and, you know, and I'm not talking like Airbnb regulation stuff. I mean, there's certain things I know that things have to be regulated and stuff, but I think that we do owe it to homeowners, property owners, to have more landlord rights. That's a big thing for me because of so many military clients, right? If they get transferred somewhere and they need to rent their place out, how is it right that they can't get back into their home for however long? It's just too squatter friendly right now. Yeah. There's professional squatters. We run into it way too frequently, especially, you know, having the property management, we see it there. Me personally, and one of the properties I have with a partner, we've had someone who hasn't paid rent in 2 years and 4 months. And it took us until January to get the basically to take it all the way through, you know, eviction and get that judgment. And we just are getting the paperwork back from January this week, supposedly. So
it's April 17th.
Yeah. And okay. Well, not to mention that it took that long for the eviction because it's just a drug, and they just kick the can down the road, drag it out. So we need to do better for the homeowners. Like for me, okay, cool. I'd rather take that hit. And the reason we didn't do a cash for keys or buy someone out at a certain point was like, if we do that and there's no eviction on the record, this is part of one of the scams that are going on here now, right? People are like, okay, cool. Well, you give me a few bucks, I'll get out like after living rent free for like 9 months. You know, they'll kick it through the process for a while. Okay, I'll just get out because, you know, we incur attorney fees too, right? So it's like, cool, I'll take the cash and we'll pop out. But then they don't have, almost the only way to deny people here now on a rental side is eviction, which I understand. So like everybody should have a chance to rent, but now no one knows the background of it if you settle and cash out with them. So the next owner is not going to know that. The next property manager is not going to know that. So I'm like, we've got to take this one.
Wow, you took a hit, huh?
We're going to have to take it because I don't want that to happen to a client or a friend. Then this person go, cool, and they rent from them and never pay rent. And they do the same thing.
Jay, do you know what I'm thinking about? I'm thinking about the enlisted guy or the, like, come on, man.
Oh, we've
like,
had lots of clients.
Do you know what I mean? Too. That's ridiculous. Yeah. Like, and that's, you know, when COVID happened and you look at all the most of the landlords I have, they're small business owners. Like they're not
100%.
They're not rolling.
No.
They can't. They miss
have 2 houses or something, you know?
Yeah, they were having to take out HELOCs. They're having to not to lose the property. So I 1000% agree with you that, you know, we got to have more balance. You know, there's got to be common sense to the things that we do. And the evidence is how many people are leaving the state.
Yeah.
Just take a look. I don't think this is going to stop. For as many people who are coming in, there's also more people that are leaving. And now it's medium income and higher income that's leaving the state.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, at the end of the day, though, I am grateful that we live in San Diego because
there's a lot of amazing stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of amazing stuff.
Yeah. We're very fortunate. And I love the fact that, you know, I'll give you kudos. When it comes to like experience, I think real estate is one of those industries where the amount of money that we can make is very, very high. The amount of work that goes into it is extremely high. There is no life.
Right.
Do you know when I talk to a client, it's, I'm available 24/7 because I am.
Yeah.
I'm not, this is not a joke. Call me at 9 o'clock on a Sunday. I'm going to answer because it's about you. It's not about me.
Right.
We got to be available. And I don't know how many professions, like how much would you have to get paid to take calls at 9 o'clock at night?
Man.
Do you know what I mean?
If I didn't love our clients and stuff, you couldn't pay me enough to do this, just to be honest. But I love our clients. I love our team. Otherwise, I would be like, this isn't.
Yeah. And I think the lesson, I heard one of your podcast episodes, and we're going to jump into there as we wrap up. You said that if you had to do it all over again, one of the biggest lessons that you learned when you bought your first house is hire the right people.
Mm-hmm. True.
Talk about that for a second. How come that is so important? Let's talk about San Diego and how come it's so important. Because I think there's very few markets in the U.S. that are like San Diego. Sure. This is an anomaly market. I would say from most real estate experts, in my opinion, I think that's an anomaly city. What is your thoughts about that?
I mean, I think it's, well, one, just the stakes are higher, right? Because San Diego, the housing prices versus, you know, income, like you mentioned a few minutes ago, they don't really necessarily match up with other states, right? So here, you're not necessarily making that much more money for what you've got to purchase, right? However, if done properly and working with the right people, and there are, and again, like we joke and vent because we know each other, so we vent a lot of times on like some of the bad sides of real estate and stuff like that, right? But there are some phenomenal people out there. And I'm meeting new awesome people in real estate like every week, right? But for each one, you might meet 5 shitty ones, but that's okay too, because hey man, I really appreciate the good professionals out there and I learn from them. So if you're working with those people and they can help you get to your goal. And sometimes part of that, I think, working with the right people that align with you or understand what you're doing. That's why, honestly, I focus primarily on military because I understand. I've been through some of the things, like I know, like when they're like, oh, hey, I got called on the flight schedule. I can't sign paper. Like I'm not like, oh, they're blowing me off. I'm like, yeah, I've been there, dude. It sucks. You know, like I get it. So I like working with that, but if the people align with you or they understand or they know how to get out of you what your true goal is, because a lot of people come in thinking one thing, especially on the investment side, right? You're familiar with investors. People read a book and they're like, oh, I'm going to buy some shit in Detroit and I'm going to do this BRRRR method I read about and stuff like that. And you're like, who do you know there? What contractors, what property managers, well, I don't know anybody, but it only costs X amount to get in. So it's like, okay, cool. Yeah, don't do that. Right? Not if you haven't done anything. I mean, we're talking people who've never even bought a home before. Right. And it's just being able to guide them to understand like, well, what is your goal with that? Are you just trying to make cash flow? Are you trying to make income? Can we let's talk about all the numbers that you're not thinking about. You're thinking, hey, if I pay this much and everything goes perfectly and I put 10 grand into upgrades and I'm going to get this rent. What about property management? What about the upkeep fees? What about vacancy? Maintenance. Most people don't really look at that when they're starting out. So being able to help them find what their real goal is. Sometimes it's just, I just need a really cool place for my kids. I need some space and a good school system within 60 minutes from work. Okay, cool. I get it. And people really mean that. Like when they come and they already have parameters, they've done this, right? They understand that. But when you find those other people that can help you get to your goal or help you visualize what your real goal is, then you can actually get something that will make sense to you. And then I really think, dude, it just doesn't pay in San Diego because it is such an anomaly, right? That if you don't get into something soon, you're always going to regret. I've never met anyone who said, man, I'm super glad that I didn't buy that place.
In San Diego.
Yeah.
It doesn't
100%.
exist.
No, they're like, oh man, I should have bought right away. I don't care what I bought.
I actually, Jay, I'm sure you get this a lot. I get more stories about the property that I sold or I didn't buy and what's this worth now? And they'll go through and they'll let you know like, oh, this property I was looking at in 2018 sold 3 times. It went up. And I don't know how you feel. I feel like shit. I'm like, what could I have done to explain that better where it would have guided them to a decision? And that's the biggest lesson I've learned from the top people like yourself is like our responsibility to people is to guide them to a decision that's right for them.
Sure.
Boom.
And don't feel bad though, well, you should feel bad for a lot of other reasons, but not that. Yeah. But don't feel bad because I had to do the same thing because I always like, hey, what could I have done better? You know, when I think we all naturally do, right? Because we all want to learn the whole time. But sometimes you've done the right things, and that's what some of our clients, when they come back, they're like, man, now that after watching it for the last year and a half, everything that you told me is true. Or everything I see now what you meant. I couldn't wrap my head around that or whatever. To me, I try to look at that and I still look at what we could do better, but I look at it as like, okay, cool. We're giving the right information. They just weren't ready to receive it yet, but we left them in a way where they were comfortable to come back to us. You know, so I just try to balance that part too. We just want to leave that door open. If they want more information, they can come back.
I love that you have a caring approach with real estate and it's about experience that you're making about them. How do you don't lose in real estate by approaching it that way?
You really don't.
You don't? Did you have fun today?
Yeah, man. Before I got here.
I know. Besides having a different host, did you have fun today?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
It was good. It was good. It's always a good time, man.
Definitely want to invite you back because I think we got to, Jay is going to be one of the people that hopefully you see on a regular basis, got a vast amount of experience and he does actually what he's doing the activities. He is an investor. And I think that's one of the cool things is we didn't even talk about all the cool projects that you're doing. Who do you want to thank before we wrap up? I mean, you got a lot of team members that make you look good because you're not going to do it.
Right.
So... Did you like that? Was that good?
Dude, yeah, no, it's very true. Hey man, there's stuff that I learned and forgot already because they're so good at it, like the contracts and stuff. There's certain things now that I honestly now have to go back. Even stuff that I maybe taught some of the team that now I have to go to them because they've just bypassed me.
That's awesome.
But a couple right off the bat. Maya's like my business partner. You know, she's been with me from day one, and then when she got licensed, just made her, became a business partner because she's just like so good at the things I'm not, which again, there's a lot of things I'm not good at, but very complimentary, right? So she's built this whole thing with me and she will be actually, her and her husband will be having their first baby here in the next couple of weeks. So we'll have a team member in about 18 years, a new team member. So that'll be good. And then recently someone that we met early on at our first, when we first started together, Nicole Farquhar. She is now our full-time, she runs all of our transaction side, manages all that stuff and operations right now while Maya's out. But she's phenomenal too. And we've known her for 6 years, operates the same way, super, organized, driven, just really experienced. And with her, we had the opportunity to bring her on full-time in January. So we scooped that up. So
congrats.
That's the one thing I'll say, man, even if you think you're not ready for something or if it's not in the budget yet and you have the opportunity to get someone who's phenomenal, just fucking get them. Figure it out later because so far I've just...
You live by that.
I do. Because
you live by that.
Yeah. It's a gift and you just don't want to push that gift away, right? If that falls in your lap, take that.
Okay.
So yeah, those are, I'd say that's the two main ones, but the rest of the team, it's phenomenal too. We have SkillBridge going on. So we've been onboarding a lot of transitioning military members for SkillBridge and kind of training them in real estate. And then they can go out and do whatever they want with it, everything. So that's been great. Yeah, man.
And you're heading to Florida soon.
Yeah, going to Florida. And then Christina, who you've met, Christina Rounds, she is like phenomenal buyer's agent and also runs our property management. Again, like you said, there's people smarter than me. So when we had to open a property management, because I didn't know who to send them to, and I needed my properties managed because I don't want to do that either.
You're not doing that.
No. And we kind of recruited her, and she had at the time 12 years experience. This is 2 years ago now, and holy shit, man! She just runs that. She's
definitely an introvert.
Oh yeah. shoot, she is the furthest thing from an introvert. But yeah, she's awesome, man. So
Well, Jay, I just huge shout out to you. Thanks so much for joining us. I hope you had a blast. Folks, Landing Collective, they do amazing work. They're all over the place. They're active. They're people that you can trust. And what more can you say? Like when the leadership is like this, the rest of the team is going to flow. So thanks for coming on, my man.
thank you, man. Appreciate you having me.